The screech of tires on rain-slicked pavement still echoes in my nightmares. That split-second blur before the crash that nearly ended everything. I was 19, invincible in my beat-up Chevy, blasting Springsteen too loud, high on cheap beer and the thrill of another all-nighter dodging finals at NYU. But when the paramedics pried me from the wreckage, ribs cracked and blood in my eyes, the first face I saw wasn't a doctor's, it was hers, pale and steady behind wire-rimmed glasses, whispering, "You're going to be okay," like a promise she had no right to make. That was the night I first noticed Elena Ramirez, the night librarian at the Bobst Library, her voice cutting through the chaos like a lifeline I didn't know I needed. She wasn't supposed to be there off-duty, rushing home from a poetry reading in the village, but she'd stopped at the accident scene, her old Subaru idling curbside, drawn by the sirens. While everyone else gawked or scrolled their phones, she knelt in the downpour, pressing a makeshift compress to my gushing forehead, her hands trembling just enough to betray her own fear. "Breathe with me," she'd said, her dark eyes locking onto mine. And in that moment, amid the flashing lights and acrid smoke, something reckless in me shattered, not from the impact, but from the quiet strength staring back. I woke up 2 days later in Mount Sinai's ICU, tubes snaking into my arms, the sterile beep of monitors mocking my fragile survival. My parents had flown in from Philly, my mom clutching rosary beads, Dad pacing like a caged animal, both of them torn between relief and fury. "What the hell were you thinking, Alex?" Dad had roared earlier, his voice cracking on the edge of tears. I'd been spiraling for months, skipping classes, chain-smoking on Washington Square Park benches, hooking up with strangers in dimly lit bars off Bleecker Street to drown out the gnawing emptiness inside. Being gay in a world that still whispered judgments, even in progressive New York, had turned my fire into a wildfire, burning everything in its path. But now, bandaged and broken, I couldn't muster the fight. Elena's words looped in my head, "You're going to be okay." Who was she to me? Just a ghost from the rain, or the anchor I'd been too wild to seek. Discharge came with a slap on the wrist, a suspended license, mandatory counseling, and a humiliating psych eval that labeled me at risk for self-destructive behaviors. Back in my cramped East Village walk-up, the walls closed in, posters of Kurt Cobain and Allen Ginsberg peeling like old skin. I avoided mirrors, couldn't stomach the bruised hollows under my eyes, the way my once athletic frame now looked gaunt and defeated. Friends texted pity party memes, but I ghosted them all, pulling up with takeout lo mein and bootleg downloads of Rent soundtracks, chasing echoes of lives less ordinary. It was on the third night, feverish and alone, that I Googled her name pulled from the paramedics' report I'd sweet-talked out of a nurse. Elena Ramirez, 24, master's in library science from Columbia, part-time poet with chapbooks sold at indie bookstores in Brooklyn. Her author photo, that same soft smile, auburn waves framing a face that held secrets like overdue books. I shouldn't have gone back to the library. God, I knew it. But desperation has its own gravity, pulling me through the revolving doors of Bobst on a drizzly Tuesday afternoon, my backpack slung low like armor. The air hummed with the scent of aged paper and fresh espresso from the cafe. Students hunched over laptops in alcoves that felt like confessionals. I wandered the stacks, feigning interest in queer theory tones, Judith Butler's dense prose blurring before my eyes until I spotted her at the circulation desk. Elena, in a faded green sweater that hugged her slender shoulders, her hair tied back with a leather cord, oblivious to the world as she stamped returns with rhythmic precision. My heart jackhammered, a traitorous flush creeping up my neck. What was I doing? Chasing a hallucination from my near-death high. She looked up then, as if sensing the disturbance in the force, her brown eyes sharpening behind those glasses. Recognition flickered hesitant, then warm. "Alex. From the accident." Her voice was softer than I remembered, laced with a faint Brooklyn lilt, the kind that wrapped around vowels like a hug. I nodded, words tangling in my throat, and she gestured to a stool across the desk. Sit. You look like you could use a coffee. It wasn't a question. She slid a steaming mug my way black. No sugar. Just how I'd mumbled it to the EMTs that night and for the next hour. The library faded. She asked about the crash without pity. Her questions gentle probes, the recklessness, the parties, the way I'd wake up hating the boy in the mirror. I spilled it all. The damn breaking nights in leather bars where acceptance tasted like smoke and regret. The family dinners back home where faggot slurs from cousins hung unspoken in the air. Elena listened, chin resting on her hand, her silence a canvas for my chaos. You're not broken, Alex, she said finally, as the closing announcement crackled over the speakers. Just untethered. Her fingers brushed mine when she handed back my ID, a spark that lingered like static. I left with her number scrawled on a receipt, in case you need another coffee, and a promise to return the borrowed book on Ginsberg. That night, staring at my ceiling cracks, I replayed the touch, the way her gaze had stripped me bare without judgment. For the first time since the wreck, sleep came easy, dreams laced not with sirens, but with the rustle of turning pages. Weeks blurred into a fragile routine. Mornings in mandatory therapy, afternoons haunting the library like a reformed ghost. Elena and I fell into an unspoken rhythm. I'd claim a corner table in the rare books room, pretending to study while stealing glances at her how she'd tuck a stray curl behind her ear, or hum faint melodies from old folk records while reshelving. She'd wander over during lulls, perching on the table's edge, her knee inches from mine, sharing snippets of her world. Born in Queens to Puerto Rican parents who'd fled the island's unrest, she'd grown up bilingual, devouring Neruda and Lorca in secret, hiding her own queerness behind book covers and late-night journals. Libraries saved me, she confessed one rainy afternoon, rain pattering against the high windows like impatient fingers. They were the only place I could be. Me. No expectations, just stories waiting to be told. Her vulnerability cracked something in me, a fissure widening with every shared laugh. We'd talk for hours about the ache of unrequited crushes in high school, the thrill of first kisses stolen in alleyways, the quiet rebellion of loving who we loved in a city that preached tolerance but practiced indifference. One evening, as closing loomed, she pulled a slim volume from the stacks, her own chapbook, echoes in the margins. Read it, she urged, pressing it into my palm, her thumb grazing my knuckles. That night, alone in my apartment, her words seared through mepoems of longing, of bodies that didn't fit the molds, of hearts whispering in the dark. The last one, untitled, ended in the hush of spines. I find you wild, unbroken, mine. I texted her at 2 a.m. Your words. They're alive. Like you. Her reply came swift. Come over tomorrow. Let's make some noise. Her Brooklyn brownstone was a revelation, a third-floor walk-up in Bed-Stuy. Walls lined with mismatched shelves groaning under novels, vinyls, and potted ferns that drank in the light from fire escapes. She met me at the door in oversized overalls smudged with paint, a streak of cobalt across her cheek, and pulled me into a hug that smelled of jasmine and fresh ink. I thought we'd collaborate, she said, leading me to a cluttered table strewn with sketch pads and half-empty wine glasses. Turns out, Elena wasn't just a librarian. She was an artist. Her days split between stacks and secret murals in abandoned lofts. We spent the afternoon daubing canvasism, with my sloppy slashes of crimson for the rage I'd carried, her with delicate swirls of indigo for the calm she embodied. Laughter bubbled up, easy and unforced, as paint flecked our skin like freckles. By dusk, The room glowed amber from string lights, and we'd collapsed onto her threadbare couch, a bottle of Malbec between us. The air thickened, charged with the unspoken. "Why me, Elena?" I asked, voice rough, my hand hovering near hers. "Out of everyone in that mess, why'd you stop?" She set her glass down, turning to face me fully, her eyes tracing the scar above my brow like a map. "Because I saw myself in you. That fire, it's beautiful, Alex. Terrifying, but beautiful. I've spent years hiding mine, burying it in books. You wear it like armor." Her fingers found mine then, deliberate, weaving our hands together. The kiss that followed was inevitable, a slow unraveling, lips tentative at first, then hungry, her breath hitching as I cupped her face, tasting salt and sweetness and the faint tang of wine. We tumbled into her bed that night, sheets twisting like vines, bodies mapping each other in the dim glow of street lamps. Elena was a revelation, soft curves yielding under my touch, her gasps poetry in motion, nails raking my back as we chased release in tandem. It wasn't just sex. It was communion, two souls shedding skins in the sacred dark. Afterward, tangled and spent, she traced lazy circles on my chest, murmuring, "Stay?" I did, until dawn painted the walls rose. And for the first time, the world outside felt conquerable. But love, like any wild thing, doesn't tame easy. Cracks spiderwebbed in the weeks that followed. My recklessness lingered, a shadow at parties I'd swear off, but crash anyway, arriving home reeking of gin and guilt. Elena would wait up, her quiet disappointment sharper than any shout. "I can't keep picking up the pieces if you won't hold them," she'd say, voice steady but eyes stormy. And her world, it was a fortress of routines: early mornings cataloging donations, evenings at open mics where her poems drew polite claps, but rarely the fire she craved. I pushed her, dragging her to underground raves in warehouses by the Hudson, where bass thrummed like heartbeats and bodies blurred in strobe lights. She'd go, laughing at first, her hand tight in mine, but the mornings after left her drained, whispering, "I love your chaos, but it's swallowing me whole." The real fracture came on a crisp October night, leaves crunching underfoot as we strolled the High Line, the city skyline a jagged promise. We'd fought earlier, stupid, over nothing, my forgotten therapy session, her canceled reading because I begged her to join a last-minute road trip to the Cape. Words escalated, mine barbed with old defenses: "You think you're so perfect, hiding behind your books while the world burns." Hers laced with exhaustion, "And you think dragging me into your storm makes you alive. I'm not your savior, Alex." We stopped at the rail, Hudson winds whipping our coats, silence heavier than the traffic hum below. "Maybe we're just too different," she said finally, voice breaking on the edge. I reached for her, but she stepped back, tears carving tracks down her cheeks. "I love you. God, I do. But I can't lose myself in you." She walked away then, disappearing into the throng of evening joggers, leaving me adrift in the wind's howl. Days stretched into a void. It buried myself in the library, haunting her desk like a penance. But she avoided my eyes, her smiles professional masks. Texts went unanswered, calls to voicemail. Desperation clawed at me, a beast I'd thought tamed. One midnight, fueled by whiskey and regret, I showed up at her brownstone, pounding the buzzer until lights flickered on. She opened the door in a threadbare robe, hair wild, face etched with the wariness I'd put there. "Alex, go home." But I couldn't. Words poured out, a torrent of apologies, vows to change, pleas that exposed every raw nerve. "You're my quiet in the storm, Elena. Without you, I'm just lost." She let me in, not with open arms, but with a sigh that carried the weight of worlds. We talked till dawn, not as lovers, but as survivors peeling back layers of fear. Her terror of abandonment rooted in a mother's early death. My cycle of self-sabotage born from a father's unspoken shame. "We can't fix each other," she said, as coffee brewed and regrets aired. "But maybe we can build something new. Together." It wasn't a fairy tale reunion of grand gestures. Just hands clasped across the kitchen table. Promises whispered like oaths. I started group therapy for queer youth. She joined a writers' collective that met in sunlit lofts. We dated slowly, rebuilding on solid ground picnics in Prospect Park. Lazy Sundays, trading book recommendations. Nights where touch was exploration, not escape. Winter thawed into spring, and with it, our love deepened, roots intertwining like vines on a trellis. Elena's first full collection launched at a cozy spot in Williamsburg. Hearts in the stacks dedicated to the wild one who taught me to turn the page. I stood in the back, heart swelling as she read aloud, her voice steady, eyes finding mine in the crowd. The applause thundered, but hers was the only echo I heard. Later, under a canopy of cherry blossoms, I dropped to one knee, not with a ring, but with a dog-eared copy of her chapbook, inscribed, "To Elena, my forever quiet. Marry me." She laughed through tears, pulling me up into a kiss that tasted of new beginnings. Years later, in our Cape Cod cottage, waves crashing like applause, we'd look back on that rainy night. The crash that wasn't an end, but a beginning. I teach creative writing at a community college now, channeling my fire into stories that light others' paths. Elena curates exhibits at the public library, her murals splashed across city walls, bold declarations of love in all its forms. Our daughter, Sophie, adopted at 2, with Elena's curls and my stubborn grin, toddles through stacks we built in her nursery. Her laughter the sweetest hook. Love isn't a straight line. It's a library of detours, dog-eared and profound. We fell hopelessly, recklessly, but we rose together whole. Sophia's tiny fingers trace the embossed cover of Goodnight Moon. Her giggle's a melody that pulls me from the haze of memory. Again, "Papa," she demands, and Elena shoots me a knowing glance from across the room, where she's sorting donor books for tomorrow's story hour. It's these moments, domestic, unscripted, that anchor us. Reminders that the wild boy who barreled through life is now the man who builds forts from couch cushions. But even now, a decade on, the scar on my forehead itches when storms brew. A phantom twinge of that night when everything teetered. Flash back to the spring after our reconciliation, when tentative steps felt like tightrope walks over the East River. We'd set ground rules over late-night takeout Thai from the spot on street. Marks. Pad CEW cooling on paper plates. No more solo benders for me. No more burying hurts in silence for her. Communication, not combustion. I joked, but her nod was solemn, fingers squeezing mine under the table. It was progress, fragile as rice paper, but it held. We explored each other in new walks along the Brooklyn Bridge at dawn, her head on my shoulder as the sun gilded the water. Talking dreams we'd shelved, her exhibit dreams, my vague notions of writing beyond term papers. Yet the past has teeth. My 21st birthday loomed like a storm cloud, a milestone I'd once planned to drown in excess. Elena suggested something intermedia dinner with her queer book club friends at a hidden gem in the West Village. Fairy lights strung like stars over checkered tables. I agreed, nerves jangling. But the old itch returned as the date neared. Whispers from old crew. "Come on, Alex." One night at the Eagle Leather. Beats. No strings. I deleted the texts. But temptation festered. A low hum under my skin. The night arrived, crisp with April chill. Elena looked ethereal in a thrifted silk blouse, emerald against her skin. Her laughter bright as she introduced me to the group Diverse Souls. From a trans poet with tattoos like sonnets to a non-binary activist sketching on napkins. Stories flowed like the house read, tales of Stonewall echoes. First pride parades. The quiet revolutions in living rooms. I felt seen, not as the wreck survivor, but as part of a tapestry. Elena's foot nudged mine under the table. A secret Morse code of I choose you. But halfway through tiramisu, my phone buzzied a photo from an ex-hookup. Shirtless and smirking at some after-hours dive. Miss your energy. Wild one. Doors open. The buzz hit like vertigo. Old habits clawing back. I excused myself to the alley behind the restaurant. Lighting a cigarette I swore I'd quit. Inhaling deep to steady the shake. What was I doing? Elena deserved better than this shadow self. Minutes stretched. When I returned, her eyes searched mine, concern etching lines around her smile. Everything okay? A beat. Yeah. Just. Ghosts. She didn't press, but the air shifted. A subtle chill. We walked home hand in hand. Manhattan's pulse syncing with ours. But doubt gnawed. That night, as we made love slow, reverent, her body arching like a wave undermined the release was bittersweet, laced with unspoken fears. Promise me, she whispered post-climax. Head on my chest. We fight for this. Every day? I held her tighter, murmuring assent, but sleep evaded me. The photo burning in my deleted folder. The real test came 2 weeks later, during Pride Month's fever. New York thrummed rainbow flags snapping from fire escapes. Floats prepping on 6th Avenue for the parade. Elena and I volunteered at a booth for the Ollie Forney Center, handing out water and pamphlets to exhausted marchers. Her energy infectious as she chatted with kids wide-eyed at the spectacle. I loved her like this fierce advocate. Quiet revolutionary yet envy flickered. Unbidden. My own coming out had been a battlefield. Dad's silence at the dinner table a wound that scabbed but never fully healed. You're brave, I told her that afternoon, amid the confetti swirl. But she shook her head. We're all just surviving. Alex. Bravery's the group effort. Evening brought the after-party at a rooftop in Chelsea. Bass vibrating through our bones. Bodies a kaleidoscope of glitter and grace. Elena danced with abandon. Rare and radiant, her hips swaying to an indie remix of Vogue. I watched from the bar, nursing a seltzer, pride swelling until a familiar face cut through the crowd. Jordan, my ex from freshman year, all sharp jaw and sharper charm, leather vest slung low. Alex fucking Rivera, he drawled, clapping my shoulder. Still breaking hearts. We talked easy banter turning nostalgic. Shots appearing unbidden. One led to two. The buzz loosening my guard. Elena found us laughing too loud. Jordan's hand lingering on my arm. Her smile faltered. A microfracture. Hey, love, she said, voice even, but her eyes held questions. Jordan bowed out gracefully, but the damage lingered. On the subway home, packed with parade stragglers, she leaned into me. Words muffled against my neck. I trust you. But I need you to trust yourself. The ride blurred, my head pounding with regret and resolve. Back in her apartment, we confronted it not with shouts, but honesty. I almost slipped, I admitted, pacing the living room, her fern shadows dancing on the walls. The pull. It's still there. But you're the reason I fight it. Tears welled in her eyes. Not anger, but relief. Then let's fight together. We did, curling into each other. Kisses turning fervent. A reclaiming. Her hands guided mine, mapping scars and strengths. Our bodies a dialogue of forgiveness. Summer scorched in, sticky and electric. We escaped to a cabin in the Catskills, borrowed from a club friend pine-scented air. A lake like glass at dawn. There, unplugged, we shed pretenses, skinny dipping under star-pricked skies. Her laughter echoing as I splashed her. Bonfires where she'd read aloud from dog-eared Audre Lorde. Her voice weaving spells. One night, rain lashing the tin roof. We lay awake, futures unfurling like plots. Kids, she mused, fingers toying with my hair. A family. Us, building something unbreakable. The word hung. Profound. The wild card. Envisioning tiny feet pattering through our chaos. But life tests the seams. Fall semester loomed. I dove into senior year. Thesis on queer narratives in beat poetry. Elena cheering from the sidelines with annotated drafts. Yet stress coiled tight deadlines. A professor's cutting feedback. Your voice is raw. Rivera. But discipline it, or it'll devour you. Nights blurred into all-nighters. Coffee-fueled rants that left Elena sleepless on the couch. One argument erupted over burnt toast and frayed nerves. You're disappearing into it again. She cried, plate shattering on the tile. I stormed out, wandering the village till bars glowed inviting, but turned back, key scraping the lock like surrender. Apologies came with glue and shared chores, but the quake lingered. Then, opportunity struck Elena's exhibit invite. A solo show at the Brooklyn Public Library's gallery. Themes of hidden loves in urban shadows. I want you there, she said, nerves bared over sketchbooks. Not as arm candy as my muse. I poured into it, posing for studies. My form abstracted into lines of longing. Opening night, black tie casual. Her pieces alive under spotlight, some rendered in ochre and shadow. Elena's gaze eternalized. Crowds murmured approval, but a critic's whisper stung, intimate. Yes, but risks sentimentality. Elena overheard. Facade cracking in the green room. What if it's not enough? I pulled her close, amid paint tubes and champagne flutes. It's you. That's everything. We emerged stronger, her hand in mine, toasts ringing like bells. As leaves turned, so did we deeper, intertwined. Holiday lights twinkled early, and in a quiet moment by our tiny tree, Elena slipped a key onto my chain. Move in. For real. Joy surged, wild and true. Packing my East Village life into boxes felt like shedding skin old posters rolled. Recklessness archived. Winter's grip tightened, but our warmth held. New Year's Eve. Fireworks bursting over the harbor. We stood on Harur fire escape. Champagne bubbles fizzing. To us. She toasted, lips brushing mine. The kiss deepened, promising tomorrows. Little did we know, the year held sharper edges, family reckonings, career crossroads. But in that embrace, hope burned bright, a beacon against the cold. January's bite sank deep, frost etching patterns on our bedroom window like fragile vows. The move had been chaosm, hauling crates up 3 flights. Elena directing with a mixed tape of Joan Baez and magnetic poetry on the fridge, wild hearts tame in quiet arms. Our first morning waking as us was magic, coffee brewing, her humming in the shower, steam fogging the mirror where I'd scrawled I love you in soap. But reality intruded swift. Me parents' annual Philly visit, a tradition laced with undercurrents since my coming out at 17. Mom called mid-egg scramble. Mijo, we're coming up. Dad wants to see the city. Elena's fork paused, her smile tight. She'd met them once. Post-crash. In the hospital's fluorescent glare, polite nods over Jell-O cups. Dad's grip firm, but eyes averted. It's okay, I assured her, kissing her temple. They'll love you. Or at least, tolerate. Lies. All of it. Deep down, I braced for the chasm. They arrived via Amtrak, bundled against the wind. Mom's hugs enveloping. Dad's handshake of ice. We toured Staten Island Ferry for skyline views. Dim sum in Chinatown where chopsticks clacked like judgments. Elena charmed Mom with library tales, her warmth thawing the ice. But Dad grunted monosyllables, nursing his Tsingtao. Dinner at our place sealed it, lasagna bubbling, candles flickering on the thrift store table. Conversation flowed easy at first, Sophia's non-existence, yet a dream unspoken until Dad's voice cut through. So, Alex, still chasing that English degree. When you gonna settle? Get a real job. The room chilled. Elena's hand found mine under the table. Squeeze steady. I forced a laugh. It's more than chasing, Dad. It's building a life. His eyes flicked to her, then away. Life. Yeah. Just hope it's stable. We've seen what happens when you stray. The word hung. Loaded stray from the path. From norms. From him. Mom changed the subject to telenovelas. But damage bloomed. Later. Washing dishes. Elena whispered. He's scared. For you. Wisdom. As always. But it stung. That night. Parents in the guest room, our couch bed. I lay awake. Elena's breath even beside me. Replaying Dad's glare. By morning. He thawed slightly, thanking her for coffee. Even complimenting her mural sketches on the wall. A fragile bridge. But it held. As they boarded the train south. Mom hugged Elena fierce. Take care of my boy. Dad nodded. Gruff, be good. Progress. Inch by inch. Spring bloomed tentative. Cherry petals dusting our walks. My thesis defense loomed. A gauntlet of professors dissecting my work on Ginsberg's queer undercurrents. Elena prepped me relentlessly, mock QAnon as over wine. Her insights sharpening my edges. You're not just words, Alex. You're the fire behind them. The day came. Wood-paneled room stuffy with academia. My voice steady as I unpacked layers of rebellion and love. Applause followed. Committee nods. Compelling. Publishable. Elation surged. We celebrated at our village haunt. Her pride brighter than the candles. But joy's shadow loomed. Elena's contract renewal at the library. A board meeting where budget cuts threatened arts programs. They're calling my role non-essential. She confessed one evening. Pacing amid half-packed lunch bags. Rage boiled in me. Protective. Bullshit. We'll fight it. Petitions circulated. Allies rallied club friends. Exhibit patrons. I penned an op-ed for the campus paper. Libraries aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. Her story woven in anonymously. It landed. Ripple spreading. The board relented. Her position safe. Victory tasted sweet. Champagne-soaked kisses in the stacks after hours. Summer hummed lazy. Fireflies winking over barbecues. We road-tripped the coast, Big Sur dreams on a shoestring. Camping under redwoods. Her head on my lap as I drove. Radio crooning Tracy Chapman. One cliffside pull-off. Waves crashing below. She turned to me. Adoption papers. Let's start the process. Heart full. I nodded. The future crystallizing. Fall brought Sophia into our orbit, not yet ours. But a flicker. Through the agency. We met her, 2 years old. Foster system weary. Curls wild like Elena's. Eyes holding storms like mine. First visit, a park playdate. Her tiny hand in mine. Swinging tentative. Up. She demanded. And Elena's laugh bubbled. Tears brimming. Homecomings were paperwork, marathons, home studies. Interviews where social workers probed our scars. Your history of instability. One asked, glancing at my file. I met her gaze, past. Not present. We're building steady now. Tensions peaked during home visit 2. Sophia napping on our rug amid scattered blocks. The worker noted Elena's intense schedule. My creative but erratic career path. Elena's jaw tightened. Post-visit. We vented her fears of unworthiness. My fury at judgments. They see us as risks. I said, punching the fridge. She pulled me close. Then we proved them wrong. Every day? We did. Channeling energy into nursery prep crib assembly fumbles. Walls painted sky blue with star decals. Winter's Eve. Approval came. Congratulations. Placement in 2 weeks. Ecstasy and terror collided. Sophia arrived bundled in a too-big coat, clutching a ragged bear, eyes wide at our chaos. First night, her cries pierced the dark. Elena rocking her till dawn. Me brewing endless chamomile. We're in it, Elena murmured. Exhaustion-lined but glowing. Love, raw and relentless. But cracks widened under strain. My adjunct gig started teaching comp to freshmen. Passion reignited, but hours grueling. Elena balanced library shifts with mom duties. Her poetry drying up in journals. Arguments flared over minutiae unwashed bottles. Forgotten pickups. One blizzard night. Sophia feverish. We snapped. You were late. You're never home. Words escalated. Old wounds reopening. She stormed to the bedroom. Door clicking shut. I slumped on the couch. Sophia's barren lap. Regret flooding. Morning brought truce pancakes burnt. Apologies sticky. We're parents now, she said. Sophia gurgling between us. It changes everything. Therapy resumed. Couple sessions unpacking the shift. We emerged tighter. Boundaries redrawn. Spring unfurled with Sophia's first steps toddling to me. Arms outstretched. Dada. Elena filmed. Tears streaming. Pride swelled. A balm. Yet external storms brewed. Dad's health scary a heart episode. Philly ER lights harsh. We drove south. Sophia in car seat. Tension thick. Hospital vigil. Mom's rosaries clicking. Dad pale but gruff. Brought the family. He rasped, eyeing Sophia. Elena held space. Her quiet strength a bridge. She's beautiful, he admitted later. Voice thick. Reconciliation seed planted. Back in Brooklyn. Renewal bloomed. Elena's second exhibit roots and wings. Inspired by us drew crowds. Sophia's scribbles framed beside abstracts. I read at launch. Voice cracking on lines for our girl. Summer solstice. Park picnic. Sophia chasing bubbles. Us entwined on blanket. Forever? Elena asked. Ringless but true. Always. I vowed. Little threats linger, career ladders slippery. Societal eyes watchful. But in our circle, love endured. A wild quiet symphony. Sophia's third birthday dawned golden. Balloons bobbing like dreams in our brownstone sunroom. We baked a lopsided cake, chocolate smeared on tiny cheeks, surrounded by a motley crew. Elena's book club aunties. My adjunct colleagues. A rainbow of chosen kin. Her glee, unwrapping a wooden train set, pierced the everyday grind. For a moment, the world's weight lifted. But as candles flickered out, Elena's phone buzzed a gallery scout's email, impressed by roots and wings. Solo in Manhattan. Let's talk. Her eyes lit, but mine shadowed with unspoken fear. Success pulls, but it tugs threads already frayed. The offer crystallized weeks later, a month-long residency at a Soho space. Elena's murals to grace high-end walls. Stipend attached. This could change everything. She breathed over dinner. Sophia asleep upstairs. Pride swelled in Mimi poet. Ascending but envy coiled subtle. A serpent in Eden. My own path. Adjunct scraps. Rejection slips from lit mags piling like autumn leaves. Go, I urged, kissing her knuckles. Own it. She did, packing easels into our hatchback. Kisses lingering at dawn drop-offs. Residency swallowed her late nights in the loft. Paint under nails. Phone calls cut short by Sophia's bedtime protests. I held fort, preschool runs. Story hours. My class is a blur of essays on Whitman. Loneliness crept. Not abandonment, but echo. Nights. I'd scroll her Insta clips of vibrant strokes. Captions poetic likes flooding from strangers. While our texts dwindled to logistics. Miss you. I'd type. Heart emoji trailing. Soon. Hers replied. But delays mounted, investor meetings, critiques running long, cracks widened. One Friday, post-class exhaustion, I hit a bar near campus seltzer intended. But old mates appeared. Shots shoved my way. To the wild days. Laughter flowed. Harmless till it wasn't a hand on my thigh from a flirty TA. Eyes lingering. I pulled back, fleeing to the street. Rain slicking my guilt. Home. Sophia's nightlight glowed. Elena's note crashed at the studio. Love you. The emptiness roared. Confrontation brewed Sunday. Brunch cooling on the table. Where were you till 3 a.m.? She asked. Voice even but eyes sharp. Honesty spilled, the bar. The temptation rebuffed. Hurt flashed not accusation, but vulnerability. I need to know we're solid. Alex. This dream. It's us. But I'm scared it'll break what we've built. Tears pricked. I knelt by her chair. Sophia napping oblivious. You're my center. Always. We made up slow afternoon light slanting. Bodies reconnecting in whispers and touches. Sophia's monitor humming soft. But ripples spread. Elena's residency spotlight drew press a timeout feature. The Quiet Storm, Ramirez's urban romances. Interviews followed. Her face on podcasts. Voice steady on queer arts frontlines. I cheered publicly, but privately. The Mirror mocked, who are you now? Job hunt intensified full-time prof, gigs elusive. My novel draft gathering dust. Therapy unearthed it, resentment masked as support. Roots in boyhood pleas for dad's nod. Climax hit mid-residency, gallery gala. Black tie swirl and Soho's gleam. I suited up. Sophia with a sitter. Nerves electric. Elena. In emerald velvet. Radiant collectors circling. Champagne flutes clinking. Toasts lauded her, visionary. I mingled. Pride fierce. Until a silver-haired patron cornered her. Murmurs intimate. Jealousy spiked. Irrational her laugh polite. Hand on his arm avuncular. But in my head, it twisted, she's slipping away. Bourbon burned down. 1 glass to 3. By midnight, I stormed the coat check. Coat flapping. Hailing a cab home alone. She found me on the fire escape at 2 a.m. Heels clicking. Dress rumpled. Alex. Talk to me. Words tumbled fears of obsolescence. Our life a footnote to her ascent. I feel small. I choked. City lights blurring. She climbed beside me. Legs dangling. Hand on my knee. You're my foundation. This. It's branches. Not roots. Dawn broke with truths aired. Her head on my shoulder. Promises renewed. Date nights carved. My writing prioritized. Residency ended triumphant sold pieces funding a family trip to Puerto Rican shores. Elena's heritage a bridge for Sophia's curls. Waves lapped white sands. Abuela's stories in Spanglish. My sunburnt vows to chase my own stars. Back home, I submitted the novel Reckless Pagesto Agents. Elena's edits gold. Autumn leaves swirled as Sophia started preschool. Her backpack comically large. Parent-teacher night, glowing reviews. But a whisper from another dad. 2 moms. Bold. Elena's smile stiffened. Later, over wine, we unpacked microaggressions' toll. They see us as other, she said. But Sophia. She just sees love. Advocacy reignited joining PFLAG. Her panels on queer families. Winter whispered changes. My novels bite from a small press. Galleys arriving like manna. Launch party small but mighty. Elena emceeing. Sophia reading a crayon-scribbled page. Dad called post-launch. Proud. Son. Really. Bridge strengthened. Spring brought bloom Sophia's garden plot. Tiny hands in soil. Elena's mural commission, a school wall. Rainbows woven in vines. My classes thrived. Students' eyes lighting on my scars as stories. Yet doubt's shadow lingered. One eve, tucking Sophia, she asked, "Why no wedding?" "Mommy." Elena faltered, glanced to me loaded. Later. Candlelit talk, rings, vows. For us. We planned simple backyard. Close kin. Ocean echoes. Ceremony day, June sun warm. Wildflowers in Elena's hair. Sophia flower girl in sundress. Vows raw, mine. You tamed my wild without breaking it. Hers. Your quiet found my storm. Rings exchanged. Kiss ceiling cheers. Cake smashed. Honeymoon cabin redux. Sophia with grandparents. Redwoods whispered. Bodies rediscovered. Futures plotted. More kids. Travels. Love. Eternal. But life's plot twists career forks. Family tides. In our union. Resilience flowered. Wild and quiet entwined. Years folded like well-loved pages. Sophia's laughter the ink that bound them. At 8. She was a whirlwind soccer cleats muddying our halls. Debates over Harry Potter houses at dinner. Her questions piercing. "Papa, were you scared when you met Mommy?" I'd ruffle her curls. Elena's eyes twinkling across the table. Our story a bedtime epic sanitized for tiny ears. The novel's modest success led to a tenure-track whisper at CUNY. Elena's murals dotting burrows like love notes. Life. We'd whisper in stolen moments. Was a good plot twists. Yes. But heroes prevailing. Yet mid-30s crept insidious. A fog rolling in off the Hudson. My classes ballooned. Prepping lectures till midnight. Grading stacks that mocked my dreams. Elena's commissions surged, corporate gigs paying bills, but starving her soul. Abstracts traded for bland logos. Sophia's school pressures mounted, whispers about different families. A bully's taunt echoing home. "They're just jealous." Elena soothed. But her hug lingered tight. Armor cracking. The first fracture was subtly forgotten anniversary. My head in spreadsheets. Her text unanswered amid parent emails. She waited up. Wine glass stem snapping in grip. "Do you even see me anymore?" Voice not angry, but hollow. Guilt knifed. I pulled her close. Apologies tumbling. Nights salvaged in urgent touches. But the seed sprouted, distance. A slow poison. Fall deepened it. Sophia's recital piano keys hammered with fierce joy drew applause. But post-show. Elena confided, "I feel invisible. Like the quiet one again." Therapy beckoned. Separate then joint. Unpacking complacency's creep. "We've survived storms," the counselor noted. But comfort breeds inertia. Homework, weekly adventures. No kids. No work. We tried ferry to Governor's Island. Picnics with charcuterie and confessions. Sparks reignited. Her hand in mine electric. But effort waned under routine's gravity. Crisis peaked winter. Snow blanketing Brooklyn like a shroud. My book toured 3 cities. Modest crowds left me adrift. Hotel silences amplifying doubts. Am I enough? I journaled. Ginsberg's ghost mocking. Back home. Elena's exhibit flopped venue snafu. Sparse turnout. She withdrew. Studio door shut. Paints untouched. Sophia sensed it. "Bedtime, please. Why sad?" "Mommy." One night. Storm raging. She confronted me in the kitchen. Rain lashing panes. "We're drifting. Alex." Like ships in fog. Tears carved paths. I held her. But words failed fear that our wild quiet alchemy had dulled to ash. Rock bottom, a solo bar night. Not wild, but wandering old flames, ghosts in every face. Temptation a siren's call. I texted her, coming home. Need you. She met me at the door. No judgment, just arms open. Dawn confessions, her terror of fading. My ache for purpose beyond provision. Let's rewrite. She proposed. Radical, sabbatical synced. A year unplugged cross-country drive. Sophia homeschooled en route. Spring planning fevered, us maps pinned. Playlist curated. Sophia thrilled, road trip. Like Thelma and Louise. Laughter healed. Summer launch, RV rumbling west. Badlands spires piercing skies. Stops scripted loose, Chicago jazz dives. Elena sketching blues. Badlands hikes. Sophia's wonder at fossil bones. Yosemite cascades. Our hands linked under waterfalls. Nights in tent or motel. Stories swap, mine of crash night grace. Hers of library solitude broken by love. Utah's arches glowed red gold. A slot canyon hike turning intimate. Sophia ahead with binoculars. We paused in shadow. Remember our first kiss. Elena murmured. I pulled her close. Stone cool against backs. Lips meeting soft then fierce. Every day, I choose you. Renewed. We emerged. Sophia's you. Echoing. Southwest heat-baked truths. A diner in Santa Fe. Over green chili. Elena admitted, I want another baby. Heart stuttered logistics. Ages. Fears. But vision bloomed. Adoption again. Or fostering. Expanding our circle. Sophia overheard. Eyes wide. A sibling. Yes. Seeds planted. Agencies contacted mid-journey. California coast curved north. Big Sur cliffs mirroring our first escape. Campfire tales drew Sophia close. Her head on Elena's lap. My arm around all. Family's not blood. I said. It's chosen. Nods. Stars wheeling above. Eastward pull autumnal. Leaves aflame in the Smokies. Final leg, Philly detour. Dad's health steadier. Mom's kitchen fragrant with Eros candles. Sophia charmed. Dad's gruff tales of his youth cracking open. I was wild once. Kiddo. Your papa got it honest. Bridge mended. Fuller. Homecoming October. RV parked. We unpacked, not just gear, but growth. Elena's studio revived new series. Wanderlust whispers. Landscapes laced with our journey. My sabbatical birthed a sequel. Rawer. Truer. Sophia journaled her adventure book. Pages bursting with crayons. Winter warmed with news. Foster matcha boy. 4. Brother to a girl we'd met. Placement trial. Chaos joyful. Our home stretching. Holidays multiplied 8 tiny socks by the chimney. Traditions remade. Spring's thaw mirrored ours. Elena's series sold out. Mine too. Sophia's school play. Her as tree sprite. Us front row. Hearts full. Midlife's fog lifted. Not gone. But navigated. Love. We learned. Is perpetual drafted, it's endless. Plot alive. Yet horizons called new chapters. Uncharted. In our quiet wild. We readied. The foster siblings arrived like a squall Mateo. 4. All wiry limbs and wary glances. Lucia. His 2-year-old shadow. Clutching a threadbare doll named Luna. Agency van idled curbside. Social workers clipboard a shield. Sophia. 9 now. Hovered at the gate. Poster in hand. Welcome home. Team. Elena knelt to their level. Voice soft as pages turning. I'm Elena. This is our chaos. Want cookies? Mateo nodded hesitant. Lucia buried in his side. I hauled car seats. Heart pounding our home. Once duo's haven. Now quad's frontier. First weeks blurred. Bedtime battles. Mateo's nightmares shrieking through walls. Lucia's selective mutism a puzzle. Sophia mothered fierce sharing toys. Storytime marathons but cracks showed. My room. Whined over shared space. Elena and I tag-teamed. Her calm anchoring my fray. Nights. Post-tuck-ins. We'd collapse on the couch. Wine loosening tongues. We're drowning. I admitted 1-2 a.m. Her head on my shoulder. But look at them fighting for us already. Her kiss. Weary but warm, worth it. Permanency loomed court dates. Home studies probing our seams. Judge's chambers stark. Mateo's testimony via video. They hug good. No yelling. Approval trickled. Provisional. Keep building. We did family therapy circles on the rug. Feelings named like colors. Sophia's jealousy aired. I was the only. Elena's hug enveloped. Now you're the big sis. Superpower. Bonds knit. Slow but sure. External gales howled. School enrollment snags budget cuts, slashing spots. Admin side-eye at our non-traditional file. PDA whispers slithered. Can they handle for? Elena fired back at a meeting. Voice steel. We handle love. That's the metric. I rallied board allies. Petitions signed. Victory small. Seats secured. But toll lingered her exhaustion. My simmering rage. Career currents pulled. My tenure review loomed. Portfolio thick with pubs. But department politics a minefield shares favoritism towards safer voices. Late nights prepping. Sophia's homework sidelined. Elena's mural bid for a community center stalled on family commitments bias. They see us as distracted. She vented. Brush snapping. United. We pushed, joint pitch. Our story woven in. 1. Walls soon to bloom. Winter holidays tested joy's elasticity. Tree trimming turned Thierry Mateo's first without bio-kin. Lucia's doll, Santa gift sparking whales. We improvised memory ornaments. Each child's handprint in clay. Christmas morn, chaos glorious. Paper shreds ankle deep. Laughter drowning doubts. Dad visited. Philly chill in his bones. Gifting Mateo a model train. Build it with me. Mijo. Thaw deepened. He held Lucia. Gruff lullaby murmured. Spring sparked growth. Sophia's soccer team. Mateo tagging along. Cleats, 2 big cheers unified us. Elena's center mural, queer icons in vibrant arcs. Unveiling with kids' hands in paint. My tenure. Narrow pass. Relief bitter. Enough. I questioned post-toast. Her squeeze, it's us. Always. Summer sweltered promise. Agency finale, adoption hearing. Courtroom flowers from Sophia. Judge's gavel, family. Official. Tears flowed Mateo's hug bone crush. Lucia's first mama to Elena. My vows silent but sworn. Block party bash, neighbors toasting. Our wild quiet expanded. Yet shadows stretched. Mateo's school bully echoes of Sophia's old fights fists clenched at recess. Counseling dug roots, trauma's thorns. I protect, he declared, drawing shields. We modeled vulnerability crash, tails softened for ears. Elena's island flight story. Fall foliage framed milestones. Lucia's words tumbling free. Sentences blooming. Sophia's bat mitzvah curiosity blending faiths. Our Puerto Rican Catholic roots with Elena's secular humanism. Rabbi consult, loves the ritual. Ceremony hybrid, backyard. Kippa on Sophia's curls. Abuelita's prayers mingling. Career resurgence, my second book deal. Memoir-ish on fatherhood's forge. Elena's gallery rep. Solo abroad floated London. 3 months. Heart sank, go. We'll hold. But doubt not distance, old bite. Winter's cusp. Decision crystallized. Together. She chose. Rep deferred. Roots first. Relief. Then launch, my reading tour. Stateside short. Kids cameos via video. Applause for Quiet Wilds. Fans queuing. Your family. Inspiring. Spring's renewal, Mateo's art class. Sketches fierce. Lucia's songs. Off-key delights. Sophia's teen edge crushes confessed. Diary locks clicked. Normal. She probed. Ours is. Elena affirmed. Yet quake. Dad's decline cancer whisper. Scans looming. Philly pilgrimage. Kids in tow. Hospital sterile. His hand in mine. You did good. Son. Wild to wise. Tears held till drive home. Elena's palm steady on wheel. Summer solstice. Beach day, sands caking toes. Waves schooling us in release. Bonfire vows renewed. Kids' shadows dancing. Love. Multiplied. Unbreakable. Horizons beckon teens. Travels. Trials. In our fold. We braced. Wild hearts quieted but beating strong. Sophia at 13 was a tempest hormones hurricane. Door slams punctuating debates over screen time and unfair chores. You don't get it. She'd hurl. Earbuds in. Vanishing to her nook of fairy lights and fanfic notebooks. Mateo. 11. Channeled energy into soccer drills. Bruises blooming like badges. But homework wars unearthed old angers. School sucks. Like before. Lucia. 9. The observer sketches and margins. Questions probing. Why do people leave? Elena and I navigated. Tag team therapists. Our love the keel steadying the ship. Teen years amplified echoes. Sophia's first Crucia non-binary classmate. Pronouns they slashed them sparked joy and jitters. What if they laugh? She confided. Makeup trial smudged. We prepped, pride pins on backpacks. Open door policy. School dance, her return radiant. Kiss stolen under bleachers. It was magic. She gushed. But backlash brewed whispers. A parent's complaint to principal. Inappropriate displays. Elena's email salvo. See seat to board. Love educates. Silence harms. Resolution. Assembly on inclusion. Sophia's voice amplified. Mateo's rebellion skewed inward grades slipping. Fights picked at practice. Coach call. Talent. But temper. Therapy resurfaced trauma. Bio-dad's shadow. Abandonment scar. I won't be weak. He vowed. Fists balled. We countered with outlets kickboxing gym. Journal prompts. One raw session. He broke. Scared you'll send us back. Hugs fierce. Never. You're ours. Pivot. Mentor match. Queer ex-pro athlete. Stories of fury forged to focus. Lucia's quiet storm. Selective friendships. Art as armor. Class project on family tree shirts, a riot of colors. Branches to us. Roots to unknowns. Missing pieces. Teacher queried. Home tears. Am I enough? Elena's arms. You're the masterpiece. We dove deeper heritage hunt. DNA kits tracing threads to Colombia. Letters to distant kin. Our axis strained under orbits. Elena's London offer resurface curator spot. 6 months. Career apex. She weighed. Eyes on us. Heart tug, go. We'll bridge. But Sophia's plea, don't leave. Compromise, 3 months. Video calls daily. Guest artist slots for kids' input. Departure eve, airport tears. My kiss lingering. Come back to wild. Her absence carved hollows. Mornings, solo packing for lunches. Braids botched on Lucia. Nights. Storytime stumbles. Sophia's sarcasm unchecked. I leaned on village, neighbors' potlucks. My folks' virtual check-ins. Dad's chemo updates steady beating it. For the grandkids. Sophia stepped up. Cooking disasters bonding us. Mateo's goals scored with my sideline roars. Lucia's bedtime songs. Her voice mine. Elena's dispatches. Emails poetic. Tim's mist and photos. Murals mocked up with our faces Easter egged in. Missing your chaos. She wrote. My replies. Novel drafts shared. Family vids of Lucia's dance recital. Midpoint crisis. Her call. Voice cracked in poster pangs amid posh critiques. You're the storm they need. I soothed. Return flight. Airport reunion. Arms tangling. Kids piling on. Never again. She murmured. Lie. But sweet. Fall reknit us. Sophia's coming out post-Insta rainbow. Caption bold drew hearts and trolls. We monitored. Her strength our pride. Mateo's team championship. Trophy hoisted. Tears mixing sweat. Lucia's exhibit school hall. Portraits of us, my anchors. Career legacies loomed. My third book. Family Forged. Anthology call queer parents' voices. Elena contributing forward. Launch hybrid. Brooklyn reading. Virtual global. Dad attended. Kane steady. Postscript praise. Words like yours. They heal. Elena's pivot. Local collective founded. Artist co-op for marginalized makers. Grand opening. Walls alive. Kids mural centerpiece. Building what we dreamed. She toasted. Winter's gift. Dad's remission scan clear. Philly feast. Table groaning. Stories swapped. To second acts. He raised glass. Eyes on grandkids' chaos. Spring's thaw. Sophia's first job library page. Elena's wing. Mateo's scholarship nod. Lucia's poem published in zine. Yet undercurrents. My health scare routine check. Elevated pressure. Pills prescribed. Mortality's nudge. I joked. But Elena's vigil sharpened. Couples retreat. Cabin quiet. Talks deepaging's graces. Kids' flights impending. We'll chase sunsets. She vowed. Summer zenith. Cross-country redux. RV upgraded. Teens groaning then grinning. Badlands redux. Mateo leading hikes. Sophia stargazing journals. Lucia's snapshots framing us. Back. Autumn's cusp. Empty nest whispers. Sophia's college apps looming. Proud terror. Elena named it. Legacy etched. Our story. Not in point, but ever unfolding. Wild roots. Quiet branches. Family tree vast. Sophia's college acceptance barred. Full ride for creative writing hit, like confetti and gut punch. Boxes packed in her room. Fairy lights coiled. Posters rolled. I'm not ready. She admitted. Hugging Elena tight. We drove the Hudson Valley route. Leaves a fiery send-off. Unloading dorm bins amid freshman buzz. Her roommate. A poet with blue hair. Drew shy smiles. Call anytime. I choked. Last hug lingering. Drive home silent. Brooklyn hollow without her bass thump music. Empty nest echoed meals for three. Sophia's chair a ghost. Mateo. 15. Filled space with lacrosse gear and girlfriend intros. His pops queries on dates earnest. Lucia. 13. Bloomed inward violin lessons. Crushes coded in sheet music. Elena and I rediscovered duo rhythms. Date nights at old haunts. Her hand in mine across cafe tables. Conversations meandering to dreams deferred. Travel. She mused. Just us. Plans sparked. Portugal spring. Azulejos and Azulejo-inspired art. But Void's invite wins. Mateo's breakup first heartbreak. Texts deleted and rage left him withdrawn. Practice skipped. Girls suck. He grumbled. We listened. Elena's stories of her own teen aches bridging. Lucia's school drama. Clique exile. Lunch alone. Invisible again. She whispered. Group therapy rebooted. Sibling circles fortifying. Career crests. Elena's co-op thrived. Grants flowing. Her TEDx invite on art as resistance. Prep nights. Her nerves electric. Stage day. I live streamed from audience. Her words soaring. Quiet spaces birth loud revolutions. Standing ovation. My whistle piercing. Mine, sabbatical for fourth book. Oral histories of queer elders. Voices like ours but weathered. Dad's shadow lengthened recurrence. Aggressive. Philly flights frequent. Kids rotating visits. His bedside vigils. Mateo reading sports pages. Lucia playing violin soft. Sophia zooming verses. You built beauty from my mess. He told me. Hand frail. Final days. Our circle closed hospice hush. Mom's rosaries clicking. Elena's hand in mine. Passing gentle. Dawn light filtering. Funeral. Eulogy mine. Words wild and wise. He taught me love's the hardest rewrite. Grief's wake. Mom relocated north. Our third floor guest permanent. Her stories filled gaps. Puerto Rican lullabies for Lucia. Baking sessions with Mateo. Healing incremental. Family forge refired. Spring bloomed escapes. Lisbon lanes. Trams clanging. Elena's sketchpad alive. Father nights. Voices keening loss and love. Our dances slow under street lamps. This, she breathed, port wine warm, is us, untethered. Home tanned and renewed. Kids updates. Sophia's first published poem. Mateo's captaincy. Lucia's orchestra solo. Summer's heat wave tested. City blackouts. Ice cream runs. Board games by candlelight. Sophia interned home. Bridging worlds. Family trip. North Cape Cod Cottage. Waves our old soundtrack. Bonfires echoed beginnings. My crash tale full now. Kids rapped. You found each other. Sophia noted. In the wreck. Autumn's harvest. Weddings beckoned. Sophia's college friend. Us officiating hybrid rite. Vows we'd penned. Joy laced with ache. Empty rooms fuller soon. Winter solstice. Circle complete. Mom's Seder fusion. Lax with pastels. Toast to dad. Stars above. Years spun. Mateo college bound. Engineering with art minor. Lucia's conservatory dreams. Violin a voice. Sophia's grad school. MFA whispers. Nests empty. Ours refill a grandkids. Distant gleam. Decades mark. Vow renewal. Beach at dusk. Kids officiating. Rings reclaimed. Words evolved. Through wilds and quiets. We endure. Dance under moon. Their partners joining. Circle vast. Legacy. Books shelved in libraries. Elena curated. Murals. Mateo restored. Lucia's compositions scored for queer choirs. Sophia's novels echoing ours. XAI's grok. No. Our stories own AI. Kids tech-savvy spins. Now. Gray threading temples. We sit porch swinged. Brooklyn's hum below. Reckless boy meets quiet girl. Elena teases. Head on shoulder. Best plot twist. Sophia's call. Story time. Virtual read aloud. Voices layering. Love's arc. Not straight. But profound kisses in rain. Hands through storms. Hearts hopelessly fallen. Meaningfully risen. In every turning page. We find home.